What is the most vital thing to a tabletop role-playing game session for the experience to get the best out of the game? What is the most vital piece to the entire thing that the game master is responsible for? That is the flow of the game. It is what brings us into immersion. It's what gets us to focus on the game, get lost in our imagination, and escape from the real world for that time that we sit down to play these games together. Anything that can affect the flow of the game is considered negative, unacceptable, and a lot of people will tell you straight out that can't be part of the table. If something comes in and breaks the flow of the game, that's wrong. It doesn't matter how it goes. If a rule lawyer is asking a question, and because of the way they go about, questioning the game master, if they break the flow of the game, that is no longer acceptable at the table. Period. Okay, now that we have established the fact that the flow of the game is the most important piece to having a good experience at the table together with your players, well, now we need to look at something called the X card, where a player in the middle of the game, for no reason at all, can just stop the game. And that breaks the flow of the game, the flow of the session, and spoils the experience. And that makes the X card unacceptable in a tabletop role-playing game. And what other game or thing that you're doing involves an X card? Can you have an X card when you're playing Final Fantasy, the MMO? Can you have an X card when you're at the theater watching a movie? Absolutely not. Nobody's going to stop the movie at the theater for you. Nobody's going to want to stop a game because what? You're throwing up an X card, and we all know this. Players would just bitch you out for trying. So when you get to a tabletop role-playing game, understand that the X card is not allowed, or it shouldn't be allowed by any good game master that does their job right. If you allow things into your game that break the flow openly, kill immersion and destroy the experience, you suck as a game master. That's a fact, period. One that is not up for debate. I don't care what your reason for having the X card is. If it can break the flow of the game, it is unacceptable, period. It has to be removed. The most you can do is talk to players before they get into the game and make sure that you're all on the same page. That's it. That's the most you can offer to players. Once they get into the game, they have to understand what they're encountering is make-believe. It's not real, it's fake. If you're scared of rats, well, the rats in the game, they're not really rats. They're not rats at all. So there's no reason to be afraid. And it is on you if you are still afraid of make-believe rats. It is not on the entire hobby to adjust for just a few people, because we know the people that require an X card are less than 1% of the player base. And do they really require them, or do they just want to have some authority, some control? Because who controls the flow of the game? Who is to manage the flow of the game? That's the game master. Anytime a player can stick something in there that messes with your authority and your management of the game, it is unacceptable, and that has to go away right away. I don't respect the reason that you need the X card. People like yourself, people that need X cards, have been in this hobby for decades without an issue. And they have real issues that they might want an X card for, but they're not calling for an X card. You want to know what they do? They talk to the game master and the players before they get into the game so people can meet in the middle and we have a better understanding. If there is an issue, it's all make-believe. You're not going to break during the gaming session. So if something does come up, you don't need to pull an X card. You need to make sure when there's a pause, a recess, or after the session that you have a talk to the game master and the other players. So let's be clear about the fact that the X card is unacceptable when it comes to tabletop role-playing games. And let's be clear on this fact as well. If you are a game master that allows X cards at your table, you are failing as a game master. You're not good at what you're doing, and you should choose to go back to the player's chair. If not, right, leave the hobby. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not a gatekeeper. I have no control. I'm just telling you the facts about the X card. You know, I don't take this whole X card thing serious. I don't respect the people that push for it because I understand that it simply doesn't work for the game. It breaks the game. It breaks what we're doing. It's like trying to play video games without the keyboard, without the controller, without the mouse. It's fucking silly. It's like trying to play hockey with just kicking the fucking puck and not using the hockey stick. Don't be so fucking half-assed when it comes to tabletop role-playing games. And yes, you people that are sensitive to certain issues, guess what? You'll get over it. You can handle this shit. It's make-believe. You know what? When I was a kid, my mother made it very clear to me before I watched any horror movies, before I watched the Jason movies and the Freddy movies, that everything I was about to see was absolutely phony. She cleared it up with me. Things that I would be afraid of in real life, she made sure that I'm going to see stuff like that, but it's all pretend. And then I went and watched the movies, and I wasn't afraid at all, because I realized it was all fake. It was all make-believe. A tabletop role-playing game is make-believe. What you're encountering isn't real. When you hear that you're supposed to fight the giant rat, well, guess what? There's no giant rat. It's some numbers on a piece of paper, and you're sitting at a table, or you're online, and you're just talking to people. That's all that's really happening. So, you don't need an X card. Stop pretending that you do. Stop pushing bullshit onto this hobby that doesn't work so you can pretend to be a victim when there's nothing to be a victim of. You're not victimized here. And if you're scared of rats in real life, you're not going to be victimized when you're encountering rats in a fucking game that are make-believe. Get over yourself. And it's only a minority of you. Sorry, there's a few of you. There might be one of you for every fucking 10,000 players in the hobby. And no, we're not going to change the hobby for you because I don't think we need to. And I think you can handle it. You just got to get over yourself and stop being a fucking coward. That's it. That's the reality here. You're being a fucking coward. Just face this shit, and then you'll realize it's not what you think. And you don't need to throw an X card down, and you don't need to destroy the gaming session for the game master, the other players, and sadly, yourself. Anyway, for now, take care. You know what you can do? You can hit the like button. You can share the video. Oh, and there's another button you can press. That one that lets you subscribe to my channel for more content. Oh yeah, there's that bell thing. You can press that so you know when I've uploaded a new video right away.